Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Perseverance Marameni, also known as Madam Speaker. So today we're going to be taking testimonials from people who are coming from families which were broken apart. The aim of this whole thing is that we should be able to learn, and you don't have to go through everything yourself for you to learn. You can always learn from other people's experiences, which is why I'm always big on making this type of information public information so that everybody can know about it, because we don't have to go through the same thing all over again. So right now I'm going to be taking requests from people who have a testimony about coming from a home where parents were divorced, or coming from a home where they feel like their parents should have divorced but they never did. So let's see, who do we have first?
Hi, sweetie.
Hi Lerato, how are you doing, my love?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hoping that 5 minutes will be enough for every person that I'm going to be accepting as a guest, so that you can just give us a testimonial to say, what is your story?
Actually, mine, I'm like 30 years old and I've grew up between Mumama and Baba. And the love was amazing until fear last year. Last year, things changed and their love was like toxic. So I really wish to say, you know what, these people, they are not a match. So they are clicking in every way. So my dad stood up and she like, in a relationship a bekezelisa gore rona re gole yabo so re godile ga di bona right, this is not it. So okay, it ended up last year gore ba be apart. Then I thought being getting affected like out of the blue, like it did, because now I love my mother, I love my dad at the same time. So in affectile in a way ya gore e tshwana le gore eng affectile ke sa le monyane, like one son. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Yeah, I get you.
What I'm trying to say is it doesn't matter how old you are, as long as they become apart, o le monyane, o ntse o le mogolo, it's gonna affect you the very same way. That's what I wanted to tell you. That's all.
So can I
But
ask, do you feel like, in as much as it has affected you, as you are saying, do you feel like your parents are better off together or they're better off apart?
actually they're better off apart.
Is it?
They
But
are,
obviously,
yeah,
because even though
because
they're better off
it.
apart, it doesn't mean that it's easy.
But still, it affects me. It
Yeah,
cuts very
yeah.
deep. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
mm.
yeah. So that's it. I
Okay.
think
No, thank
it
you so
won't
much.
even take 5 minutes. I think I'll
Yeah.
come back where bana ba tshwanang le di ex. Hey.
Nah. Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
fine.
yeah.
You can always come back on that one. Thank you so much for sharing your story, because what you're
Thank you
saying
so
right now
much
is
for.
very important, to say that
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how old you are, but just the thought of your parents being apart, it should affect you one way or the other, regardless of how old you
Yeah,
are
I thought I
or how
thought I
understanding you
thought
are.
true that, and I thought I ain't getting affected because I knew how they were bad for each other,
Mm,
but
mm,
then
mm.
it affects my little sister as well. But
Yeah.
and re ba rata ba le two. And when
Yeah.
I'm visiting my dad, it's an issue to family ya ko mama.
Yeah.
Wangson. Like
Mm.
brother, like, yo, why? So they trying to like, and also it's normal, but because of the like, vamos on, like doesn't mean if we have to
No.
vamos on the on,
But then look at the
So
bright side. You know
it's not
what, ne?
cool.
I feel like it's better for, in your case, ne? Obviously every case differs, right? But I feel like you should be glad it's happening now when you're older and you're able to make your own decisions. Because imagine if this happened when you were younger, that means that your mother's side of the family were gonna block you from seeing your dad's side of the
Thank
family.
you.
So it's actually a blessing in
Thank
disguise
you. It
that it
makes sense
happened
actually.
now. Ne?
So
And
I think my dad like fully, because like he stood there, abegezeditse nonsense, so abegezeditse just so gona re gole. So now we've
yeah,
grown up. Yeah, as you mentioning, if I was young, maybe I would have been on drugs by now. But
yeah,
now I know like I'm responsible and whatsoever. So it
yeah.
makes sense now. Yeah, thank
It
you
can
for your
never be
time,
easy.
sweetie, and thanks for this topic.
Now we're gonna have Kosi. Kosi, hi, my love. Hi,
Hi,
Kosi.
Madam Speaker. So I'm also 30 years old. I'm a firstborn at home. So for the most part of my life, when my parents were together, my dad was very abusive. So when I grew up, I got to see that side of him. And I think it made me very angry towards him. maybe at some point I didn't realize, because I think when my mother took a decision to say, you know what, I'm done, it was because I think I was around 17 years old, if I'm not mistaken. And I stood up to my dad. I was like, you're not going to beat my mom. Not today. I'm going to call people on you. And finally, when they got divorced, the younger ones, unfortunately, because they didn't know his side or that side of him, they took a curve, in terms of understanding what was going on, because they loved the other dad that they knew, and which was perfectly fine. And I think for the most part, because I was the older one, I didn't
You could
understand,
see
because I
everything,
knew
yeah.
the other side of him.
Yeah.
Yes, and I didn't understand why they couldn't understand how this guy was towards us. I think years later, when they've all dealt with it, because we are four at home, they've all dealt with the trauma, and unfortunately, I haven't. I was still angry with him. And I think it took about 2 years for me to talk to him, because I was like, how can you treat my mother like this?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't advise any parent to say, yo, I'm going to stay for the kids, because that also paints another um, picture for us as kids, because you get to also hate the other parents. I think my mom had to take me for counseling in order for me to get to a stage where I can just talk to my dad. I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't look at him. It was just, it's so sad. So I wouldn't advise, because I grew up like that. I could see the toxicity. I could see my mother being beaten, wearing the glasses, trying to hide from the community and stuff like that. And it affected me very big. And also with my views in terms of relationships,
Yes, I wanted to
I
get there
don't trust
actually.
easily. I don't trust easily. I always blame, or I always kind of shift. Like, I have this protective side of me. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this
You're
guy is
always on
about,
defense mode.
yes. It's like I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, and by that I'm always sabotaging my relationships.
Your own
Um,
relationships, yeah.
yeah.
Because it's like you're
So
always
that's
waiting for
all.
somebody to disappoint you, because you've been
Yes.
disappointed when you were still young.
And I think also I'm using my parents' views on relationship and stuff like that, because when you're a kid, you look up to your parents. If your parents
Yes.
are in love for like 20
Yeah.
years, you're like, this is what I want. And
Yeah.
then, but when your parents are toxic, you're like, I don't want to get married. For some point in my life, like I'm 30 years old, I still don't think I want to get married. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it might change, because I'm still going counseling as well.
Yeah.
So it's a touch and go situation, honestly.
You know what I can say to you, sis, in closing, name. It took 30 years for you to get here with every pain and every hurt that is in you. It's not gonna take, a day for you to get over and heal from everything. I just want you to be patient with yourself and find your own ground, because life is a beautiful thing. And just because things happen a certain way to your parents, it doesn't necessarily mean that the same thing is going to happen to you. Be patient with yourself, and just allow yourself to be in the moment, be in the zone, and allow healing to take place as the days go by, and you're going to be okay, my love.
Thank you.
You're most welcome, darling. Okay, I'll take somebody else now. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Okay, we have another one. Hi, Shuki.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, my darling?
I'm good, babe.
Yes, love.
My story is I'm 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember when my parents they didn't really separate with a divorce. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I used to live with both my parents. Since I was born, because it was only the three of us. My mom had two kids outside the marriage, which were my brothers,
Okay.
and my father. I cannot count, eh? Because, like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're more than 10. So,
Okay.
with them, I would say I received the mother love and the father love at
Mm-hmm.
the same time
Mm-hmm.
because they were together and I was the only child they were focusing on at that time, because I was the only one staying with them. Now, I still remember when
Okay.
I started with high school, grade 8, my
Mm.
father got retrenched from work, so we had to move from where we were staying to another place. Now, that's when
Okay.
things went south, and they were starting to have misunderstandings, arguments, always fighting, and everything else. So up until my father decided, you know what, okay, I'm gonna go home for some time. Of which, to me, he just said that he's going to see his family that side and other kids, my sisters and brothers, just to check up on them, since, well, he's being retrenched from work, and try to do something that side.
Mm.
So to me, it really broke me down to an extent that I even had depression, because now I'm so used to having my mother and my father around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so used to being there, the little one, the last born, the
Yeah.
love that I
Like a
got,
perfect
being
family, you
babied
know?
and everything else. Every
Yeah.
time when you got from school, be like, "Mommy, Daddy," you know that they are
Yeah.
there. So now with me and my mom just being there, I could see that sometimes she would be just angry, like, yeah, you look more like your father.
Yeah.
So
Which is the
that
topic that
also
we're still gonna
affected
get to.
me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that also, because he'd be like, "Oh, your nose looks just like your father,"
Mm.
out of the
Mm.
blue.
Yeah.
So,
So, but then,
uh, it,
did
it,
you
it,
did
it
you
was,
did you get help?
yeah, I did seek help, because at least my older brother took steps for me to
Mm-hmm.
get us professional assistance and everything else.
Yes.
I had to
Yes.
understand to an extent that um I lost contact with my father, so I had to also go through that process.
Yeah.
So um I remember when I finished with my matric, that's when my mom found new love. And
Okay.
still today, even though I can see that she's happy and everything
Mm-hmm.
else, but I still hold back to, what if my
Yeah.
father was here? I
Yeah.
know that I'll be getting this now. I know that this could have been that. So it's a
Yeah.
very, very long and hard road to take. Um,
Can I
and I
ask,
feel like I'm
where are
still
you
very,
now?
very young.
Where are you now in terms of, or emotionally? Where are you? How are you feeling right now in terms of the whole situation? Your dad being away and you being with your mom and your mom finding love again. How are you feeling?
Um, for now, I could say it's been something that I could say I'm easing on, because when my mom found new love, I hated her so much that, how could you do this to my father? It was like,
Mm,
how could you guys let this be?
mm,
Why did you guys choose this road? Couldn't there have been something that you two could have
yeah,
done to fix it or anything like that? But
yeah.
somehow I realized that maybe it has to be what it has to be. Yeah.
So, have you
So
ever
I
had a
could
chance to
say
speak to
that
your dad about this whole thing?
yeah, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Because I recently got in contact with him, and I asked him, like, ever since you left, you told me lies. You never told me that you're not
Yeah,
planning to come back. You
yeah.
just left
The
and told
hopes
me
were
that
high.
you will be back
Yeah.
soon. Yes.
Mm,
So why did you choose
yeah.
to do that? Then the only thing that he managed to tell me was, ask your mother.
Mm.
So that too broke me down. Like, what do you mean? Because now it's you that I'm talking to.
You know what I think the
So
problem is with our
yeah,
parents, which is different from us, is that our parents don't want to communicate with us, and that the fact that they don't want to speak, it actually impacts us more. Like I feel like if your parents were upfront with you from the very beginning and said that our relationship is not working out,
yeah.
these are the reasons, or even if they don't have to disclose the reasons, but to just let you be aware that actually this is the end, instead of them giving you hopes that things are going to be okay, because you hold on to that, and even when new people come in, you're not going to be accepting of those people because you are still thinking that maybe your parents still had a chance to make it work, you know.
Cause now I feel like somehow I'm also being unfair on my mother's partner. Cause sometimes
Mm,
when he
mm.
tries to do something for me, I feel like my father could have done that. My
Yes.
father could have. Yeah, I always have that thoughts.
And then you
So
could
yeah.
find that I'm not even siding with your mom, ne, but you could find that maybe some of the things, the reason why they're withholding from you is because they want to be neutral, because the thing is with parents and breakups and divorces is that once one says bad things about the other ones, you're trying to bias the kids. So sometimes parents choose not to speak openly and tell the kids what actually happened so that the kids can always be neutral. Because once you know that maybe your father almost killed your mother, I'm just going to give you an example with that, then you're going to start hating on your dad, and your mom doesn't want you to hate on him. Maybe she wants you to grow up and then understand that as you grow older, you'll get to understand that not all relationships are meant to last forever. So maybe the only thing that I can just add on to the process that you're taking right now with your healing and everything is that leave room for your mom to be herself, and also be accepting of the fact that, what, maybe the purpose of this relationship was just to get me to be in this world and nothing else.
Yeah, I believe so too.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here, sis. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. Let me take the next one, okay?
Pleasure.
Okay, darling. Yeah, hi, Moshe.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Mine is kind of, I don't know. It's not only a testimonial for me, but it's the testimonial for my kids, which when I was listening to the stories, I just
Mm-hmm.
have the fear of how my kids, I just got divorced, or I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
process of divorce, and now we've been fighting for the kids. So
Okay.
now I'm more fearing of the stories that I'm hearing now of
Okay.
what it could be in the future for my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, how do I explain the current situation that I'm not there as a parent?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
fighting for me as a black man to be in my kids' life. As you normally know that they say that black men are not in, they don't fight for
Yeah.
their kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you are trying to do everything you can to fight for your kids to have access to have everything,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
law does not stand on your side. It always favors obviously the female.
Okay.
And to a point where like I'll make an example. I'm in Cape Town.
Mm-hmm.
My ex is in Johannesburg. She was in Cape Town. She relocated. I was staying with my first child, and
Okay.
then she relocated. Now she forced that the child who was staying with me must move to Joburg with her. And I was fighting no, that you know what, I'm a available parent. I must be the one to continue to
Yeah.
raise my child. But the law always favors
How
the
old is this
female.
child,
So we
Moshe?
went to a judge.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was asking how old the child
I
was.
didn't hear that.
The child.
The child that I've got two kids. The
Okay. The
one that I
one
was
that you're
staying with
staying
was
with.
4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was four. It's turning 4 in May this year, and the other
Okay.
one who turned 2 yesterday. It's in Johannesburg. Was in Johannesburg with their grandmother.
Okay.
So the trick part was that how we ended up kind of divorcing. It was probably it was like this thing you guys as most female they go through what we call postpartum depression. It ended up
Yes.
into abuse of the
Yes.
child. Then the family
Yes.
asked me to take the child. I
Okay.
step up. I used to stay in a flat. Ne?
Mm-hmm.
I step up because I didn't have a space to help the child. I bought a house, made sure that I brought in the kids, everything. I put myself in a tight financial situation. The child
Mm-hmm.
moved in with me. All of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
after a year, the person said, "I want my child back." I tried to refuse. I tried to fight for the court, and
Mm-hmm.
then we just got into a court, and then the judge just say, the kids should be with the mother. No reason given, no nothing. The
Mm-hmm.
child has been with me and everything. So,
But you can
like
still
now, my
appeal.
kids now when I video call them, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't understand why he's not with me.
Yeah.
Every time you could see in his face,
Mm-hmm.
it's tomorrow I'm going to pick them up so that there's a social worker from the family advocate to come and do an
Yeah.
investigation and everything still.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it saddens me that
Mm-hmm.
what will it be? The story that you're discussing for me, it's not about my story. I grew up with both
Yeah.
mother and father. I don't have a story like that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if everything is against me, but I'm wondering what it could be about my kids.
Yeah.
That's the sad part about this. It's like,
It's
how will I have to explain how my relationship with their mother ended? And in
yeah.
most of the cases, the relationship ended by infidelity and all those things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
mine,
For
it's
sure.
nothing like that.
Mm.
It was more for like emotional abuse, and I couldn't stand it.
Mm.
And I said, "No, I'm out."
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, like, what will it be? Like, I'm looking at the story of one of the lady was in here when
Mm-hmm.
you ask the father, and the father said, "Go ask your mother." Sometimes Like I don't know what I would able to tell my kids when they reach a certain point where they want to know what
Yeah.
happened between me and their mom.
Yeah.
It's said yesterday it was my child's birthday. I couldn't be there. I have to
Yeah.
go pick them the kids. I need to recreate their birthdays in Cape
Mm.
Town because I can't be there
Yeah.
because the family is so broken to a point what I once listened to your story
Mm.
in one of the videos when you talk about toxic women,
Yeah.
when you say that just because you are so angry and bitter with the thing, now you use the kids now the
Yeah.
kids now are immersed into that. I thought that was one of the most powerful so it spoke to my life. It was exactly what I'm
Yeah.
going through at the moment.
Yeah. You know what? This is hectic. Has the divorce been finalized, if I may ask?
The divorce can't be finalized before the finalization. Basically, what happened, there was a social worker. She bought a social worker, a private social worker, to do an investigation. This social worker was so biased to a point where I had
Yeah.
to approach the court to ask for a family advocate to step in.
Yeah.
So when I asked for the family advocate to step in, then we went into the court, and then the court now wanted to decide to give the family advocate to do the job. Then there
Yes.
was an issue of where should the kids be in the interim. The child was with me attending school here. This
Yes.
judge, I mean, it's a female Xhosa judge, and I could see female black Xhosa judge. And imagine how if you were to look at I'm sorry I'm not painting all the Xhosa people
Yeah.
in a bad way, but you know that in most of the cases, in terms of a higher men not taking responsibility in a Xhosa culture, is ne? So for her to decide between a woman and a male who should be with the kids,
Yeah.
without reading any document, she just say the mother should be with the kid. The child is taken from me, been there with me for almost 14 months in school, everything. She changed everything in an interim.
Yeah.
No reason given, just because the kids must be with the mother. And I took the child when the child was being abused.
Yo.
And now, now I'm being told that for me, I must cover the cost for up and down of Cape Town in a month. I like to take the kid. If I was to take the kids every month, I'll be spending 10,000 rand every month to go pick up the kid. Yeah, she's scot free because the judge says so. Then you ask the judge. We ask the judge, give us reasons. Now I have to appoint. I'm trying to now to have to even go to the judge president to say, this judgment is unfair. It frustrates me to a point where I can't do anything. I can't be paying maintenance of the kids close to 7,000 a month plus the 10,000 of picking them up and down for Cape Town. It doesn't make sense. So it put me in so much pain that if I give up now, what happened?
Yeah. You can't afford to give. That's what I wanted to get to, actually. You can't afford to give up on your kids. You know deep down in your heart how much your kids did you. You understand what I mean? I always say this even with maintenance, to say the people who are struggling with getting their partners to pay maintenance for the kids, it's not about you. I need you to understand this, Moshe. It's not about you. It's not about how strenuous this is to you, because it is strenuous. I know it's frustration. It's frustrating. It's painful, but you need to understand that.
And it's costly.
Yeah, it is costly. It is costly. I know that. My whole bonus in November
I've
went
spent
to my
$500,000
legal
so far.
fees.
I spent $500,000 now on fighting. I'm tired.
There's
I
no way
am
you can be
tired.
tired. There's no way you can be tired
This
of
case
fighting.
is going for 3 years now. It's going for 3 years.
So what is the problem,
I'm tired.
actually? What is the problem with this woman?
No, the problem. No, we thought obviously she was mentally unwell with her family.
Yeah.
Her family actually approached me to say, Musha, you have to step in. In a vendor culture, we know that I mean, the mothers raised the kids. I mean, in the beginning, the kids were with her. I mean, when they were born, she was in Joburg. I mean, there was no way of fighting. When the family said you have to step up and take the kids because she's not well, she's abusing the kids. I step up. I made commitment. I bought a house almost 2 million close to a school. Everything. I'm in a financially tight position at the moment because I'm paying a house which I bought for my kids. Now I'm sitting in a 3-bedroom house now alone later. No one stays in the house. I'm paying 22,000 rand a month. I'm paying everything. It's just a mess. Do you get what I'm saying? So now I've made a lot of I'm in a tight financial position because of the decision that I made after the family set up. Now the family has turned out. Her family has, those people who told me to take care of the child, now they turn against me.
Obviously, they will
now
turn
they're
against
the
you.
child. They said they don't want to be involved. Yeah. Now, but the same people say take the child, step up. I wouldn't. I mean, personally, I understand. As you know, there's what we call male privilege. Ne? Society has given male privilege that we get scot free, we don't raise the. Now I was the kind of guy who changed nappies, everything.
I mean, it's not a one size fits all, this thing. You understand what I mean? It's not always that a guy is always going to be negligent. There are guys who are actually good at taking care of their kids, and they're stepping up, you know. So it's so sad because now you have to suffer the consequences of things that you don't even know about. Like all these bad guys or all these guys who've not been taking care of the kids. And now that the law has generalized to say men are like this, so now all of a sudden you have to now suffer that, even though you know that when you were doing your part.
Yes, and in fact that maybe the judge, even herself, she's a product of the same situation. So obviously, if she has to make a decision, she'll make a decision from a biased position.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Moshe, I need you to do me one favor, ne? While you are busy with this process of fighting for your kids, I need you to take care of yourself first, because you're not going to be any use to your kids if you're dead because of stress, because of just depression, because this thing is definitely, this thing has a potential of killing you, Moshe, ne? So I need you to get that first, to say, please take care of yourself in every way possible. Take care of yourself while you fight for your kids. Number two, please don't give up on your kids. Don't do it. Don't give up on your kids. If it means that you must fight for your kids for the next 5 years, and also be patient with yourself, because I know the processes, especially with the
Like
law
I'm
of South
listening to
Africa,
that lady.
forever.
There's a lady that you talk to now. It just happened. When she said that, am I dead? What happened? Yeah.
And that's
like even if the law has
the
changed,
scary
it's not
part.
changed. Like it's still, even if they don't look case by case. Like I'm telling you, the child has been taken now. And has been dumped. She doesn't have time to take off the kid. She took the child from an available father to give to her mother to raise the children. Where do you see? Then, she just come back. Her mother is raising the kids. She doesn't have time for the kids. I'm the one who was available raising the kids. Cooking, I cook, I do everything that I could. But because of society and what men privilege has been shown in society, that men don't take care of the kids. And majority of black men are stepping up now. They are stepping up, and then they are coming. They are taking up the position. We are no longer like our fathers who were running away. We are stepping up. But when we are stepping up, we found that the same biasness and prejudice are still there against us. That's the sad part about it.
Yeah. You know what, Mushene? One thing.
Yeah, it just helped. Your talk just helped me to realize.
I'm happy you are speaking. Because you really need to be speaking about these things, just to let it all out. And one thing I can tell you for sure, ne, is that it doesn't matter how long it takes, but kids will grow up, and kids will actually get to learn to say, okay, my dad was like this. As long as, I'm happy about the fact that you're not like that dad who just doesn't want to give answers. You should always be ready to give your kids answers, because remember, this thing is not only causing a strain on you, but on your kids as well. So in as much as I'm saying you need to take care of yourself and make sure that you live to tell the tale to your kids, to say, this is what I've been doing, this is what I've done so far. And also at the same time, do your appeals, fight. If it means this is the last kick of a dying horse, where you have to fight with everything that is in you, get an appeal to say, listen, but then I have proof. I have gathered this and this to show that I'm a better parent. Because if they didn't give you, nobody's above the law. Even the judge who has said that your ex can take the kids, just because she has said that, it doesn't necessarily mean that she has a final say and it is done, it is finished. You understand what I mean? Because you can still.
I've decided to approach the judge president, because it's just getting to a point. I mean, imagine now. You make a decision. There was an interim order in December. She didn't want me to have access to my second child. I approached the court. I have to spend 60,000 rand in December so that I can have access to my second child. And then the judge said there's no reason why both parents cannot share equally the kids. This one in January now, she changes the whole thing. Like there's different judges are making different decisions. She didn't read. She just make a prejudice decision. She doesn't give reasons on anything. So we wrote to her, say, give us reasons before I appeal to the judge president. She just ignored the email twice. We reminded she ignored. Now we are approaching the judge president, because this is an interim order. And you make an interim order in such a way that the things cannot be changed anymore, because if the kids are already in Joburg for 6 months now, you're gonna argue that we must the kids can't be removed. But now we are no longer gonna be hearing the case on merit, because now your interim judgment has changed the matter. This is what I'm saying. You should have given us we agreed that give us 10 per term. I could have had my child the first term. You have the child the second term. At least we know where you can figure out where the kids are.
Oh. This is a difficult one, but I just want you to hold on, and also as you are fighting, as you are approaching
what is best interest of you. But now you give the.
Sorry.
It's just the third part, because like you have a judge who just made a decision based on without any reason given.
Yeah.
Easy. Just because.
The law is not
prejudice
fair,
because
hey?
one is a man. It's sad, but
Yeah, you see this
but
thing of
thanks a
injury
lot
to one is
for
an
just
injury
prevent.
to all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
what it
but
is.
the,
It's society. I mean, there are certain things that we men benefit from men's privilege, and
yes,
maybe
yes.
it's one of the things that society is still privileging females. It's a sad
Mm,
part because now matters are no longer hearing on marriage are based on something else. But now you give
yeah.
up. Now you keep quiet. You stay away because you are everything.
The
And then
kids are
now
angry
the
with
kids
you.
grow up. My father doesn't care about me.
Yeah, it's always the
You
case,
see
you
what I'm
know.
saying? My father doesn't care about it. It's a lot of that's why when I was listening to the pain of that lady that was talking to one of the things
Yes.
that made me ask to enter that lady. I listened to that
Mm.
lady. I nearly cried because
And
I
you saw
tried
your
to
kids
put
in the next
my
20
kids
years to say they'll be doing the
my
same
kids
thing.
in her. And then
Mm,
now I don't know how to explain to this child why you're no longer staying with me. Like when I video call with him, he doesn't
mm,
understand why he's no longer in his room. He said, "Daddy, I want to see my room. Daddy, let
mm.
me see my room. Let me see
Yeah.
my Adidas shirt." Like
Mm,
I can't explain to him why he's not here.
yeah. That is so sad, hey. That is so sad. But you have
Yeah,
to
but
keep
anyway,
trying.
thanks a lot to
Don't give
listening to
up.
you guys. It just kind of realize, it gives you one of
Mm.
the thing to realize maybe you must fight through, even if at the end, even if you
Keep
lose, you lose.
fighting.
You know that you've done your best.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's nothing which will give you more peace of mind than knowing that you did your best. If you still have it in you,
yeah,
keep fighting. Keep fighting, fight with everything that is in
yeah,
you, Moshe. That is all I can tell you for today.
yeah.
No, be strong, my brother.
Thanks a
Thank you so
lot.
much
Thanks a
for
lot.
thank you so much for joining in. Okay, I'm gonna take the
Thanks.
next one now. Okay. Whew, guys, yo, Jehovah. Yazin, growing up. Yeah, love and light to Moshe, man. Moshe, you know what? Hold on. I can totally relate because you're not the only person that I know who's like a good dad. I know so many good dads out there and they have to suffer for all the other crappy dads. So I'm just rooting for you and I'm hoping that eventually you're gonna come right. Okay. Hi dear.
Hi, can you hear me
How are you
now?
doing, love? Yes, now I can hear you
I'm
loud and clear.
okay. I'm okay. I think it was
Yes.
my network. I was far from the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi.
no
Yeah.
problem.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so my story is quite different. So I grew up with my grandparents, and I was the only granddaughter to them. So growing up, that story that you said the other day, I remember you said that women, not only men are toxic, sometimes women are also toxic. So
Yeah.
in the relationship that my grandmom and my granddad had, I feel like my grandmom was the
Mm-hmm.
problem
Okay.
because she would speak a lot,
Yeah.
fight a lot with my granddad, and up to an
Mm-hmm.
extent where I was their pawn in the
Mm.
situation because I was
Yeah.
staying with them. So you are
Mm.
the middle person in the center, and when they're fighting, my grandmom will be like, you know what, don't talk to your granddad. When I
Mm.
talk to him, and she's like, why did you do that? And you like in the middle. You understand, as a child, and I
Yeah.
was very young at that time. I was
Mm.
about 3 years up to, I
Mm.
stayed with them from 3 years up to 8 years in
Mm.
that toxic relationship where I felt like, you know what,
Imagine.
I
Hey.
can't.
Imagine.
It was so toxic to me to an extent where I would wish them to die. You
Yo.
understand? I would
Yeah.
wish maybe one of them would die and I'll be
So
like
that you can
in
just
a better
rest.
position. Yeah, I would think like, okay, if one of them died, I would be like in a better position because I
Yeah.
felt like I was a pawn.
Yeah.
If my mom is not there, there's no one to fight for me, and
Yeah.
they are fighting. I can't do anything about it because I'm a child.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like really, really toxic because it really affected
Excuse me.
me.
Just
I'm
excuse me.
28 now.
Okay.
I'm 28
Listen.
now, and I'm still in that position where I feel like, you know what, you can't go forward. You are
Mm.
at a position where you don't value men in that manner that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Because to me, I feel like I have to be independent in order to protect myself. You
Yeah.
understand?
Yeah.
It's I don't know how to put it, but I'm in a position where I'm very defensive. I'm very
Mm.
um I don't understand men. You understand?
Yeah.
When you're talking to a man, I make a man look like he's nothing. Because
Mm.
right now I'm in a relationship and my man has been complaining about that like frequently, and it's something that has been happening in like most of my relationship. It's like I'm
Mm.
constantly like sabotaging myself because of that, and I feel like, you know what, sometimes I do understand you, like I do
Mm.
understand that I'm wrong, you understand, but I'm very defensive. So I think like I adopted that thing that my grandmom had to say, you have to be defensive towards men. Men are nothing, you know, you don't have to respect men, you have to talk back, you have to do all those sorts of things.
Protect
So
yourself all the time.
yeah, to protect yourself, even if you don't need to protect yourself, you understand? There is nothing that my granddad did to her for her to protect herself. You understand? She was like a defensive individual with no reason to be defensive. So I'm constantly like taken aback, even when I'm 28 years now. That's something that happened when I was like 3 to 8 years. So you understand that that toxic environment can affect a child in a sense that even moving forward in years, they will still like remember that thing. You know, it's like it's a constant like a cycle or a disc that is always like playing in my mind to say, I remember like every detail. You know, I was really young, but I do remember every detail to say, I remember one day she was like grabbing a stick, a huge stick, wanting to like hit my granddad on the head. And he was like so defensive, and he wasn't like so defensive. He was trying to like hide away from her, but he's a man. You understand? He could have like beat her up or anything, but
But he
he was
didn't.
like crying so much. So the thing that I wanted to come here and say was that um, to just express that also women are toxic in relationships, and also staying in a toxic relationship because you're trying to protect a certain relationship and trying to say, you know what, I'm staying for the kid is not right, because when you're trying to stay and saying that I'm protecting them, you are putting them in an environment where you are breaking them even more, and you're grooming them to be something that they don't want to be when they grow up. You know, like I am in a relationship right now, but that thing keeps on playing in my mind. Even when I go for like therapy and all that, I still, you know what, go back to that. It's like a cycle. It's like something that you keep on remembering as a kid.
Okay, you know what, my love, Ne? Let me tell you something. Just to look on the bright side,
Yeah,
you being able to detect what
yeah,
is your childhood trauma, you being able to detect what is your toxic trait, that is an
yeah.
achievement. That is an achievement, my love, because
Very
so many
true.
people, I mean, almost everyone has something to heal from childhood, right? And
Mhm,
then
mhm.
sometimes people get to think that they're even bewitched because they don't even know what to heal from or how to heal from that.
Exactly. Mhm,
Okay, so I want you to celebrate and be happy by the fact that you at least know what it is that is in you that you need to heal from. Okay, and I also want you to
yeah.
understand that triggers are not always a bad thing, because when something triggers you the first time,
Mhm,
the second time it triggers you, it's not going to have the same impact as it did the first time. So I need you to understand that
mhm.
you are embarking on a healing journey. Okay, there's going to be a time where when you think about what
Exactly.
happened with your grandmother and your grandfather, you're not going to hurt anymore. You know, for the fact that you know that you
Mhm,
have to develop a defense mechanism because of your parents or your grandparents, it's going to help you so that next time when you feel like you need to defend yourself against your boyfriend or your partner, you will remember that this is a toxic trait. This is a childhood trauma that I need to heal from. And I'm happy that you're saying that you're attending counseling, because a combination of all of that, simply, even if it's just one step at a time, my love, even if you're just crawling, trust me, with everything that you have said to me right
yeah.
now, I can guarantee you that you're actually on your healing journey. And that is good.
Thank you so much.
You're
I'm
most
trying so
welcome.
much to, you
Listen,
know,
take it
to
easy on
just forget
yourself.
it and try to
Take
heal.
it easy. Yeah, one day at a time, you will be okay eventually. You know, we all have something to heal from on a daily basis. We are healing from something, you know, in one form or shape or the other, you know.
Thank you so much, madam.
You're most welcome, my
It
darling.
was
All
like
the best to
very,
you,
yeah,
okay?
I feel stressed right now.
Thank you so much, my
Thank
love.
you. I'm just going to be watching. Bye.
Okay, bye, love. I'm happy so far with the testimonials that we've been having from people who have grown up from homes where there was either breakup, divorce, or just toxicity in general. You know, this is so informative. My heart goes out to Moshe and every single person that has joined this live, and they were just giving us a testimonial of what they have been going through, or what they're going through, or what they've went through. Hello, user. Please tell us what your
Ah,
name is. What's your name, my love?
my name is Elsie.
Elsie.
Yes.
You are welcome, my darling. Please share your story with us.
Sure, madam. My story is so difficult to this day. I can't even kaqala kae.
Mm,
My parents, I think they have 10 years but divorced.
mm,
But to this day, nje, it's haunting us
mm-hmm,
to a point whereby us siblings we fighting all the
mm,
way.
mm,
To a point whereby the other ones would love to share or sit le papa
mm,
and
mm,
talk.
mm,
But the way the trauma is, Mama would say, yes, your dad this to me, your dad did that to me. And she doesn't allow us to be with Papa.
okay.
She doesn't want anything to do with Papa. So it's so, so bad
Mm,
to a point whereby sometimes Kinaloi reflected to my marriage. Now,
mm,
okay, I've been married for 11 years, but I've never enjoyed my marriage.
okay.
Uh, growing up, batswadi ba dulang ba lwana all the time
Yeah.
to a point whereby, like literally fight. You'd see them
Yeah.
ba lwana, and
Mm,
my mom built this wall towards Papa.
mm,
Eventually, Linda, I grew up. Ke bona this toxic relationship e etsahalang ko ntlong.
yeah.
And Linda, on my marriage, keep projecting the very same thing. I've been
Yeah.
married for 11 years.
Mm,
But I've been out of my marriage for almost the whole 11 years. Ya lenyalo la ka. I've been
mm,
going in and going out. Ke
mm,
dula hae, le
mm,
ngwana. Sometimes I go back, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I
mm,
feel like, you know what, as much as I love his dad, but I owe
mm,
it to him and said, you know what, o deserve ho ba in a stable home because Na
mm,
never had that thing. But it's
yeah.
not working for Na.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like it's not working for one, but
Yeah.
sometimes, there's that thing of I need to do this. But
Mm.
nje, it's not working. I batla ho bua maka.
My love, let me tell you something, ne? You see, I always say this that there's a difference between you detecting the type of pain that you're feeling and finding a solution to say, what can I do to heal from the pain that I'm feeling? For example, if there's a pain in your stomach and you don't know what it is, there's no use because you can't get help. But if you know that the pain
Mm,
that you're feeling is called hunger pain, then you know that for you
mm,
to get rid of the pain, you just have to eat food, right? So you
mm,
get your healing from that. So what I want to say to you right now is that you already know the type of pain that you're feeling. You already know what is
mm,
causing the type of pain that you're feeling. What you need to do now is to get the remedy for that. And in as much as you are acknowledging that you are what you are to your husband because of how you were raised,
mm,
I know that a lot of us, especially in our cultures, the Black people, we ignore confronting the toxicity which we face. We ignore just acknowledging that we are in pain and we want to heal because we think that shows weakness. But what I want to say to
mm,
you right now, my love, is that because you already know what is the problem and what caused that problem to be where you are right now, right? You need to work on keep moving. You need to work on getting your healing. You understand?
mm,
Because talking about it doesn't mean that it disappears. Acknowledging what it is doesn't mean that it's going to disappear. But you actually
mm,
going out there and saying, I'm on a mission to get healing from this, and that, you will definitely get it. Because, honestly speaking, I feel like you are not far off. Because the what I would like to call a lost cause, would be somebody
mm,
who knows what they went through, but they're not acknowledging. They're not
mm,
acknowledging either their contribution towards messing up their own lives or their own marriages. Number two, they're not acknowledging the depth of the pain which was caused from their childhood traumas. But then in your case, I am so hopeful because I can see that you are actually acknowledging both. You're acknowledging that you are actually contributing towards the failure of your marriage or the mess that you have created simply because of where you're coming from and where you were and how you were raised, right? So that is a good
mm,
thing. It's a good sign. It's a good point to start from, to say from here going forward you can actually get your healing from that. From here going forward, you need to be working on how do I now fix this, how do I now heal? Because remember, how old are you? Sorry to ask. I know it's not everybody who's comfortable with talking about the age.
I'm 38 years.
Okay, let's say now you're 38 years old. There is no way you're gonna heal a pain of 38 years in just 38 days. Do you understand what I mean?
Okay.
You're gonna be healing that pain in a very, very long process, right? But one day at a time, you trying to get your healing one day at a time and seeing that, you know what, there's something that I did is better than nothing. Because as you are sitting and the years are going by, I mean, it's been 11 years that you've been married and things are not getting any better because you know the pain, you acknowledge the pain, but you're not doing anything about it. You understand what I mean? I know that it's not everybody who can just wake up in the morning and they're like, okay, listen, I'm gonna start attending therapy. But trust me, there are many ways that you can get your therapy without even having to, go to visit somebody's office. One thing that I would like to recommend for you is just to read on or watch a lot of videos, YouTube videos on healing from. Once you type healing from this, and that, as you just listening one day at a time, take it easy on yourself one day at a time, you're definitely going to get there. So I really, really need to just say I appreciate the fact that you already know it's all is not lost. All is not lost, my love. That's all I can tell you today. And thank you so much for sharing your story. Okay.
There was once a time whereby I went to therapy and I did not even finish the process. I feel like it was not made for me,
Yeah.
to a point whereby I even come more depressed. And I feel like half of my life I've been depressed. Like I can't even share or say what makes me happy. I don't know what makes me happy.
Do you know why you feel depressed when you go for therapy? Actually, you feeling that depression, should be inspiring enough for you to actually go back. You know why? Because
Wow.
as you open up, you get triggers, right? You are opening cans of worms which were closed up for the longest time. So as you are opening up, all those emotions, all those feelings that you had as a child or growing up seeing those things in that environment, it's what is coming up. So it actually shows that you are ready to open up. It actually shows that you are actually acknowledging that something is wrong and you are ready to deal with it. So every time when you go for therapy, should you decide that you're going to go back, right? If you go for therapy and you feel depressed and you feel like, you know what, this thing just resurrected something in me, know that that is a good sign. It shows that you are now embarking on a healing journey, because if you've ever had a wound, right? If you're not touching it, it's okay. But once you put spirit on that wound, it feels like as painful as it did the first day, right? So, but then that spirit which is on your wound is a sign that you are now getting your healing. So that's how you should take therapy.
Yeah, okay.
You understand me, my love?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can read on it, you can watch videos on it, but I need you to now acknowledge the fact that now when you feel like you're being depressed more or you are being triggered some more, it's actually going in the positive direction. It's not going, you're not going backwards. You're actually getting healing and closure from all of that.
Madam, mostly the trigger, it comes from that thing, you're watching your dad putting his hands go home and
Yeah.
coming to realize the very same thing that you went through as a child, it's happening where you are.
Yeah.
And it feels like you told yourself, okay, this thing is, I think about it's not gonna happen to me. I'm gonna break this generational kids. I don't want this in couple to raise up kids kaka more situation in Sejwar. And then you have your husband Liena doing the same thing to you. Even if no, he's not like doing it like most of the time, Akimu Buele or anything. But he did that once and it
It
triggered me.
triggered
And I felt
you.
like,
Yeah.
yes, I felt like this is not what I'll do or stand up for. It's not in me to do this, or even my son to see these things. Di
Yeah.
etsahala ko ho nna. I don't want my
Because now
son to
it's
be
going to be a
raised in this.
continuation.
Yes, I don't want this for my son. I want a better life for my son.
Yeah.
And on top of that, me losing kids, ke thola di-miscarriages tse ngata, like it feel like I'm a loser. O kila bona?
Yeah.
Ha hona niks e betere e nka e etsang bophelong ba ka. Or even I can't even do a simple thing. Bear kids, I can't. So who are these things that I think mama,
Yeah.
and then like, no, I can't do this. And
The thing is that
I don't want to lie. I hate men. I do not want to see myself lead any men. Nje. I don't want that.
but trust me, my love, you can heal from that. You know, you can get to a point where you don't hate men at all if you just allow yourself to go through the process. Because I feel like the pain is there, the hurt is there, but you every time when you want to tap into it and get healing from it, you hold back. You know, so I feel like if you just allow yourself this opportunity, afford yourself the opportunity, be patient with yourself, and allow yourself to actually go all the way, in as much as some days, even for me, when I was attending therapy, I'm actually thinking of booking some more therapy sessions with my therapist. When I was attending therapy, there'll be days where I wouldn't feel like doing it, but I would do it because I remember where I'm going, the end goal, the end goal. So if you can focus on the end goal, to say at the end of this therapy session, which I'm going to be attending for a year, I want to be able to think about what happened to my parents and it doesn't hurt. I want to be able to look at a man and it doesn't disgust me. I want to be able to look at this and that, and it's not painful anymore. So if you can focus on the end goals, I'm telling you, even though it's not nice, even though you don't feel like doing it, you will do it. So I'm really encouraging you to go back, even if you don't go back in a sense of you sitting on a couch where you've been cancelled. Take it one day at a time, watch videos, read on it, and then one day at a time, babe, you will get your healing.
All right, madam.
Thank you so much for being here, my love. I really appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, now we have who? We have Mpumi. Mpumi's coming in. Hi, Mpumi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, my love?
I'm all right. Thank you. Finally, got
Yes,
to
at
speak
long
to you.
last. I could only take one guest at a
Yeah.
time, so that I can just focus.
Okay, thank you. I'm not gonna say my parents were divorced or anything like that, but growing up, I grew up with my mom. And growing up, I thought, black families, they don't like talking about parents and all that. So growing up, I thought, okay, my dad passed on because my mom never spoke about him, like ever, 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 ever.
Yeah.
And then 2010, my mom passed on now. And then when she passed on, I went to stay with my aunt and everything was fine. And then when I was turning 18, now I'm getting correspondence of the court. Remember, I didn't even know that my mom was attending court for maintenance and all that. So now when I'm 18, I'm receiving correspondence that you are now 18. You're going to have to sign the documents by yourself so that the court can see that you're now 18.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Now I'm confused because now at home, nobody said anything about my dad. All along, I thought my dad is gone, And then I signed those papers and I just let it slide. And then when I'm 20, because now I'm 26. So when I'm 20, then my dad is in the picture. So now I'm so shocked. I'm like, okay, I thought that my dad is, I thought that my dad is gone. And I must say, that guy hates me. Like, he hates me. I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what happened between him and my mom. Yes. And I once asked him, what happened between the two of you? And he got really mad about it. And he said, we're not going to talk about it because your mom is not here anymore. So there's no use for me to speak about it. And even today, even my family, they don't want to talk about it, but I just want to know as to why did my mom hide you and why did you, I'm not going to say he ran away because I don't know the story. I'm not going to say he ran away. And I remember this one time he said, I'm the one who accompanied you to school in grade 1. Okay, I don't recall all those moments, but the way he was saying, so the way he was talking, he knows everything, like literally everything about me. And I'm like, so why have you been quiet all along? But he just doesn't want to say anything. So basically, I found out about him through this court thing. And tell you what, I think 3 weeks ago, I find out that I've got other 3 siblings. Yeah, and
Okay.
even the way we met, it was so weird. But now when we speak about how do you know your dad, wara, we all met through maintenance, court, and
Wow.
everything. Yeah.
Wow.
So the four of us is
So
like,
he's the guy who
oh,
abundance, Nji.
everybody. And the funny part is that he's married now and he's got kids with that
Mm.
wife, and he's a
Mm.
loving father. He's a
Wow.
loving father.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, guys, I don't know if it's my mom who messed up or what, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna point any fingers if it's my mom who did something or it's him, because now
Yeah.
it's gonna be one story, and whatever
Yeah.
that he's gonna say, I'm gonna have to take it. So I'm like,
So you
okay,
might as well
fine.
not even
Let me,
listen to it. Mm.
yeah. So I'm like, you know what, Nate, because ever since I met you, you've been lying from day one. So
Yeah.
chances are, even on this one,
So,
you're just
yeah.
gonna lie again. So let's just let
Mm.
it slide. But we are not on speaking terms. I don't have a problem with him because I was not there. Whatever that
Yeah.
happened between you and my mom, I don't know it, but I'll tell you that you were wrong to use me
Yeah.
as your weapon. You were
Yeah.
wrong. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm okay now. I'm fine.
You know
And
what? I
the
really
sisters,
appreciate that. Oh, sorry. You were saying?
I'm saying even now we're trying to get along with the sisters because all of us, our relationship with the dad is the same. He's not getting in touch with everyone, and
Mm-hmm.
basically everything is just the same. So we're like, okay, fine.
We
We
all
all
hear each
understand
other.
what type of a dad we
Mm-hmm.
have, so let's just make the most with everyone. Just try to build a relationship and
Mm-hmm.
make it work.
Yeah. You know what? I really appreciate that you have made peace, with the fact that it's okay for you to close this chapter without getting answers. Because even if you do get answers, they're probably not gonna be the right answers, or they're not gonna be the real answers, the truth. So doing that and saying that I want to close this chapter without wanting to understand, you actually did well for yourself, because if you were somebody, they would still be having this thing hanging to say, I want answers, I want answers. And obviously, this guy eventually was just going to cook up a story which was going to make you hate your mom even when she's late, So the fact that you actually
True.
made peace with that you don't even want this story says a lot about you as a person, and how far you are in terms of your healing from whatever that happened between your mom and your dad. And also, this you see these men who usually are good dads to kids who are born in their marriages, or who are good dads to women that they're still involved with. It's not about the kids, ne? It's the same as when I'm now getting married to another guy, and I come with my two kids. You find that this guy loves my kids so much, but he doesn't love his own kids. It's because they want to attach their love for kids to the love for their mothers. Meaning that if he doesn't love your mother, or if he never loved your mother, then he finds it difficult to love you. It's not the same as with us women, because in most cases, when a woman falls pregnant and you have a child, whether you love the dad or not, you are bound to just have some sort of bond with that child. So it's not the same with dads, because for all we know, one guy might have 10 kids that he doesn't even know of, because he went and slept around with a lot of people. You understand what I mean? So to him, the
True.
attachment is not the same as, it's not always, because it's not a one size fits all, obviously. But I need you to understand that the love that he has for his kids with his wife is solely based on, okay, he loves his kids, obviously, but then what could be influencing him to be focused and a good dad to them is because he's still with their mom.
Yeah, true. True.
Yeah,
I
so but then when
understand.
you know what, if you have your other siblings, you the outcasts, all of you, and you're together, and you are just a family, why not? Why not? We move, honey. We
Yeah.
move. We solve what we
Yeah, we
can.
move.
We heal from what we can. What we feel like it's a dead end, we drop it and we go.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank
so much, my
you.
love. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you being here today. Okay. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night. Bye. You're looking pretty.
Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
Okay. We have who now? I'm really appreciative of you guys who are coming in, because we're just on the roll. Hi, Paul. Hi, Paul
Hello,
Mega.
madam. How are
How are
you?
you, my love? I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
You have a story to share with
Bef
us.
Yes, I do. Actually, it's so amazing how much I can relate to you and the content that you always sharing. It amazes me, you know, but it's also encouraging because it's good to know that somebody has gone through what I've gone through and they
And they're
heal from
surviving,
it
you know.
and they're okay, you know.
Yeah.
Um I joined the church when I was in tertiary, and I was a born again Christian. I was a committed member of the church in the worship team. I was a youth leader. You know, my life revolved around church. And then I got married at the age of 25. And at the age of 26, I was divorced. I filed for divorce. And obviously, people will judge you for that, especially people at church, the people that are supposed to be there for you. um, it shatters you, and I think it changes you. And for me personally, it made me, for lack of a better word, bitter towards born again
Yeah,
Christians.
the church.
For a long time, I was bitter, and
Yeah.
even now, I still find it hard for me to join a church because I think of
Of what you've been
how,
through, you know.
yes, what I've been through, how the same people that preach about love were the same people that turned their backs on me when I was going through hell. And going through hell
Yeah.
because of somebody that was also a member of their church, you know? So it's really amazing that the person that ended up filing for divorce, trying to get myself and my child away from a terrible situation, I became the person that was shunned for doing something that God hates, because
Yeah.
while I was filing for my divorce, I had seniors of the church calling me and saying, Mpho, you know, I I found my husband life in bed with another woman and I still stayed, you know. This is why I also hate that movie. What is it called? The one of a woman whose husband just keeps on treating her bad and then she prays. She has a war room, I think. I think it's
Oh,
called
yeah,
War
yeah.
Room.
Yeah, yeah,
Because yeah, they used it as an example, you know, but I'm like, if somebody's mistreating you, what do you do? Do you stay and let your kid grow up in a miserable marriage,
yeah.
or do you
Yeah.
leave?
Yeah.
You know, and I had
The
it,
church.
it's difficult choices because you're either staying in a terrible marriage or you're leaving. And after I left that marriage, I was still depressed. I was miserable. I was now a young single mother going through
Yeah.
financial strain. I was depressed. I wanted to take my own life, but it was a choice that I will never regret that I took. And so, you know, I'm still in a stage of healing, but
Yeah.
I'm not at a point where I'm bitter anymore, you know. I've gone through this stage of being bitter, of hating men. But it's one step at a time, you know.
Yeah, I wanted to say
And
that.
yeah, it's not something that happens overnight.
Yeah.
I just always keep praying to God that I don't take out the anger to my or pass it down to my child. You know, I
Yeah.
really try my level best, even when I'm talking to my therapist, to say that is my biggest worry, you know, that I will somehow pass, even subconsciously, pass
Yeah.
the angerness that I have towards the father
Yeah.
to my child, you know. But at the end of the day, I'm not perfect, and
Yeah.
this is where I am. I've been divorced now for I think 3 years, going on four, and I'm doing okay.
You know
I'm
what I
doing
appreciate
okay.
about this generation, our generation? I appreciate that we are we're in a good position to change
Mm,
the future for our kids. But what we
mm,
need to do is to heal from the things that our parents never healed from. We heal
yes.
from what they did to us, which was toxic, and because they never got a chance to heal, they never got, things were not as accessible for them as they are for us, right? So I
Yes.
know it's a lot of work, but we need to heal from the toxicity from our parents and being raised,
Mm,
our childhood traumas, right? And also where we
yes.
are, we need to heal from our day-to-day issues, and at the same time,
Mm,
we need to protect our kids to make sure that they never turn out to be like us. And I'm quite
yeah.
confident to say, even when I hear you saying that you're attending counseling and everything like that, I'm confident to say, you know what, your son can never turn out like you, or your son can never,
Mm,
you can never rub off any sort of toxicity, especially in this in, like, you know, when it comes to everything that you've been through, maybe there's going to be a new form of toxic traits that your son is going to develop, or, you know,
Yes.
your traumas that he's going to have to face, you know, but it could never be this that you're facing right now, because you are dealing with it
Yeah.
head on, you know. So I really appreciate that. But then, you know what, healing is one day at a time. You take it easy. Sometimes it's 5 steps backwards, and then you make
Definitely.
progress again. All you have to do is just to be patient with yourself, be accepting of your situation, and say, this is my life and it's okay. You know, I don't have to be pleasing to everyone. I don't expect everybody to understand or relate, but as long as I'm breathing, as long as I'm doing whatever it takes for me to survive, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
So really, all the best to you, Mpho.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you
You're
to
most
everybody
welcome.
saying well done. And I wanted to encourage somebody who's probably going through the same thing to say it's so hard to file for divorce, especially
Yeah.
when you're in a surrounding of a church, because
Yeah.
it's discouraged, you know. But
Yes.
you,
Yes.
you need to put yourself first. You need to put your mental health first, you know. What everybody else says does not matter as long as you're
At a
okay.
church,
Because I'm
church, I love church. I'm a church girl, but
Mm,
church is very
mm,
toxic because abuse is endured and abuse
yes,
is washed down with just in your prayer, you know. So I can relate
absolutely.
totally, but you don't have to endure that. You don't have to tolerate that if you don't want. But if you do want, you
Mm.
can.
You can, and
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
suffer whatever consequences you suffer. I am still a church girl, you know. But my experience, I don't know if this is something that I will also heal from, but my experience now is teaching me not to want to get into ministry anymore. I go to church.
Yeah, me as
I
well.
warm
Me
the
too.
seats. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
sit
prefer
there.
actually. I prefer that because then my relationship with my God and what I'm there for is not a
Mm,
public thing. I don't need validation from anybody, and I'm just okay with that. I'm okay with that.
yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
You just go
Thank
there
you so
to
much.
receive, and that's it.
And then
Thank
you
you
go
so
home.
much. Thank you.
Okay, my love.